Alright guys, this is the game you have been waiting for that I have promised you earlier in the day. We're going to be going into Sihoe versus MVPMonster. This is going to be a PVZ, and the map is going to be Antigua Shipyard, guys. Let's get into the game! MVPMonster Korean Madness is about to begin on stream. I am JoRoSaR. Let's get into Antigua. Alright guys, spawning here in the bottom right position of the map, we have as our Protoss player in the green colors, a very, very high Masters Protoss. Will he be able, though, to take an upset here, because he is up against some superbly stiff competition. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be Sihoe. But over here, in the top left, as the blue Zerg, guys, we have from Korea, GSL player and one of the top players in the world. It's going to be MVPMonster. So these games are being cast live from Stockholm, ladies and gentlemen. Monster flying in from Korea to play in this tournament, of course, and Sihoe a lot closer, of course, being a resident European. But this is going to be an absolutely sick PVZ on Antigua Shipyard, the Dreamhack version, of course. I believe cross spawns are enabled so that only cross can be played here. Unfortunately, Sihoe going to be scouting in the wrong location, but he's going to know very quickly that it is actually cross. And Monster going to be going for that. No, he's not going to be going for a 15 hatch. Let's take a look and see what he does in just a moment. That is going to be a scout. And let's see what Sihoe wants to be doing with his build. It looks like the Forge on the low ground is indicative indeed of a Forge fast expand. This is the current PVZ metagame. Protoss versus Zerg, bread and butter here. And we do see Monster actually able to get the hatchery down without too much interruption. Had this probe not scouted the wrong location first, he might have been able to block the hatchery for a little bit of time. I'm not 100% sure, but nevertheless, this is really the current PVZ metagame. Let's wait and see if anything is going to come of it. And actually, Monster going to be planting a drone where the Nexus is going to be. Sihoe is not going to be very happy about that at all. Going to try and attack that drone and get him to head on back to where he came from. And it looks like he will be able to successfully defend this. And oh my goodness, only one hit left on that drone, and he is actually going to be able to get out of there. So there we go. The Nexus does go down. The drone is going to have to head back home, and both players know exactly what they're going up against now. Monster going to be grabbing his spawning pool as well, and Sihoe going to be planting down that gateway and continuing to wall off with a couple more buildings, possibly another pylon here as well, maybe between the two gas geysers, just to keep everything there nice and powered, and things looking like a fairly typical PVZ. We have seen some Protosses lately go for one base play against Zerg, because the metagame shifted in such a way that Forge Fast Expand is really good against a Zerg that goes 3 hatches, because it's basically the only way to keep up economically. But if a Zerg blindly goes 3 hatches against a Forge Fast Expand, or what he thinks is a Forge Fast Expand, then one base play can actually kill the Zerg. So we've been seeing a little bit of metagame shift where some Protosses aren't actually going Forge Fast Expand against Zerg anymore and trying to catch him out with some one base play, but we're not going to be seeing that in this particular game. Alright, but in the meantime, up top, the Zerglings are going to be pushing this probe out of the base and probably killing it as well if he's not careful. Sihoe able to get a little bit of a scout off, and an Overlord in a very, very nice position at the top of the ramp, going to see everything that Sihoe is doing at this base, just out of reach of the Photon Cannon. And the Cybernetics are going to wall off between the Vespene Geyser and the edge of the map. That's actually really, really nice SimCity placement there. Oh my goodness, this is basically impenetrable. I'm loving this wall off from Sihoe. Of course, using the gas geyser as part of the wall off is basically inspired, and even though this would technically block a little bit gas mining, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. A small price to pay for early game safety, and the third hatch is indeed going to be coming down now from MVPMonster. Alright, so not too much going on at the moment, guys. Remember, in the meantime, We have a lot of other groups going on as well. The Dreamhack mainstream and a lot of more community streams are indeed being listed on Team Liquid at the moment. Everyone has different groups, so I happen to have the groups with TLO and MVPMonster in them. Things are looking pretty good indeed. After this game, we are going to be going into Liquid TLO, where he's going to be playing his final group game. I think he's playing one of them now, and his second best of 3 we will be following after this best of 3 finishes. So very, very exciting times ahead, guys. And later on this evening, we're going to be getting into the next group stages of Dreamhack as well, once those groups have been determined. So there will be a little break in between these games and the ones later on this evening, as we do see a robotics facility now going down for Sihoe, and actually it's out of sight of this overload. Monster is doing his best to come in and see what kind of tech is going on, but a couple of sentries with their tickle guns are going to be popping up into the base, and sadly MVPMonster is not going to be able to get too much scouting of the tech of Sihoe off, as he gets very, very slowly and what looks like painfully tickled to death. Never mind. 2 more gateways going up in the front of his base, so if Monster sees anything, it will basically be gateways, and we all know that he wants to go gateways, so not too much information there. He doesn't see whether it's a robotics facility or a Twilight Cancel. That's why he's keeping his tech hidden in the bottom of his base, and it looks like we're going to be grabbing a lot of sentries and an Immortal as well. So we could be seeing some sort of push play coming out of him there. We don't actually have any upgrades coming out of the Forge though, which is very interesting indeed, as the 3rd and 4th gases get taken from Sihoe. So we'll wait and see what he wants to transition into in just a moment. In the meantime, let's take a look at what MVPMonster has been going about. He's got an Evolution Chamber and Roach Warren. Nice SimCity there at the back of the base to try and prevent any sort of run by. If Zealots wanted to warp in, for example, it would be very, very annoying for them to run around the mineral line when there are buildings blocking their way. He has some decent creeps, but going to be heading out towards the middle of the map, and these Zerglings are going to be able to establish almost complete map control as it currently stands here. And Sihoe actually is going to be going for a 3rd base, so that 3rd Nexus going down now, and oh no, the sentry's getting caught out in the middle of the map. They will not go down though, luckily. There are a decent number of Zerglings there. Will he be able to run by here? No, he's not even going to try. And the Immortal getting surrounded. The Immortal is going to go down. That is absolutely huge. Sihoe losing an Immortal there is not something he wanted to do, and now some of the sentries getting picked off as well. This is not a great position for him. Monster is now off 100 supply to 64, but if Sihoe can somehow maintain this 3rd base, he might be okay. A lot of cannons now going down for him as well. Nice little wall off there. We have a gateway, 2 cannons, and a pylon over here on the left, but if the pylon gets taken down, that could be absolutely huge. No, it looks like Monster is not going to be going for that at this time, in case he gets flanked in the back by some of those units there. So really well played there from Monster, waiting until the correct opportunity to pick and choose the units he wants to nibble away at and try and pick off. Getting a good surround on that Immortal and a couple of sentries being picked off as well is exactly what he needs early on in the game, because Sihoe is currently playing defensively. Monster knows this, and he can feel free to pile on the aggression just a bit, and look at the number of roaches conglomerating over here on his half of the map on creep. That is indeed a gaggle and a half of roaches over there, and these Zerglings are basically acting as spotters right now, waiting to see if Sihoe has any sort of timing. But when Monster realizes that that's not coming in the next few minutes, he might start a push of his own. Sihoe now getting his 3rd base safely up and going to be transferring a couple of probes here. Let's find out if it's going to be enough though. The total work account is 59 to 73 in favor of Monster. MVPMonster, such a good player. Not quite Code S caliber yet. He hasn't been into Code S, but he has been able to pull upsets over Code S players in many of the tournaments that he's played in, and he must surely be one of the favorites in this Dreamhack Open tournament. Let's find out if he's going to be able to make this attack stick though. The Zerglings, as predicted, haven't seen an attack coming, so Monster's going to be piling on the pressure of his own. The Roach is going to be heading towards the 3rd base of Sihoe now, and we have a hallucinated Phoenix, but it's going to be scouting everything a little bit too late as the back rocks get taken down. Does Sihoe even know this is happening? Oh dear, if he bothers to look, he can see the health of the rocks going down, but this is basically going to be a surprise attack from Monster. Half the army going in via the back of the 3rd base, and half of it going into the natural. He's going to be able to catch this army off guard. Excellent move there from Monster, allowing these roaches to basically have their way at the 3rd base, and Sihoe doesn't know what direction to go. He needs to engage these roaches first. These roaches are basically buying him time, so that the roaches on top are able to do their thing, and now both armies meet in the middle. We have a Protoss sandwich out in the middle of the map. GG! MVPMonster is going to take game number 1. Excellent play coming out there from Monster. Will Sihoe be able to bring it back in game number 2, guys? I don't know, but let's find out. I'm JoRoSaR. We'll be right back after these very quick commercial breaks.